Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. I am your host, Richie, here with my guy, Mr. Idris Salam, a.k.a. Bosco from the Bronx. And today, on this lovely Wednesday morning, it is part one of our Week 2 NFL preview and prediction show. Our man Zappy will be back more than likely for part 2, so I am purposely going to leave the Cowboys off of our Week 2 part 1 slate. Lots to unpack, lots to uncover. We got a big one Thursday night between the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. There could be a couple of running backs that are going to be going in there with injury designations, and we're going to kind of plan accordingly in the fantasy realm of things, assuming that Mr. Achane, Mr. Mostert may very well not be available. And, you know, that's not necessarily a death nail when it comes to preparing and winning a game, because we saw it just the other night in Santa Clara that not having your number one back doesn't mean that whoever is buried on the bench cannot come in and perform. You know, we saw that with Mason the other day, but
yeah.
You know, it's going to be a nice opening for Week 1. That's definitely a nice feature to open it up. You know, the Dolphins and Bills throughout the course of history always bring us some good action, even going back to the Kelly Marino days. You know, we're going to be hitting on embattled quarterback Daniel Jones. If there was ever a get-right game, if that's even in the realm of possibility after what I saw Sunday, you know, the Washington Commanders, he does have a commanding 5-1-1 record against those guys. And, you know, their secondary is rather leaky. And speaking of leaks, I think Malik Neighbors might be able to get behind some of those guys. We shall find out. Yeah, Week 2, we're getting it. Be back in just a moment. Enjoy this intro. All right, we are back. Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast here on YouTube, Facebook Live. Idris Salam, big game Thursday night in Miami Gardens. We got two teams that won in Week 1. The Miami Dolphins kind of escaped. I guess you could say that about both these teams. You know, the Buffalo Bills definitely were in a fight with the
Arizona
definitely in a fight.
With the Cardinals.
With the Arizona making some breakfast. Bro, what is breakfast, man?
For real, breakfast.
Yeah, I don't eat breakfast on my off days.
Yeah, he must be in California. We don't do that on the East Coast.
He's definitely in California.
Yeah, we don't do that on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Give us a croissant of bacon, egg, and cheese. Wow. Yeah, speaking on that game, Miami and Buffalo, of course, division game. You know, early, but that's good. If Achane and Mostert not playing, I think it will have a difference because that kind of makes Miami one-dimensional in a way. They're going to need that running game against Buffalo. They're going to need it just to take the eyes off of Waddle, who might be a little hobbled coming in. No pun intended.
So Waddle, what you're saying is Waddle might be waddling. I mean,
yeah, it might be waddling.
Not ruled out yet. If I had to make a decision off of the two,
yeah,
I think Mostert might have a better chance to suit up because it's a chest contusion where for a Chan, it's the ankle. And of course,
right.
What happens today is going to go a long way if these guys so much as have a shot.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Buffalo's Buffalo, man. You know, they need to run the ball like they do. James Cook and Josh Allen. I was impressed by Josh Allen last week. He does what he does. You know, that's him. You know, two-way player in terms of offense, run the ball, throw the ball. He's going to do what he does. I think Miami's going to have to stop him and James Cook and whoever plays. I think if Mostert does play, I think it'll help, but he's going to need that second guy to spell him. You know, I'm gonna still go with Buffalo on this one. I'm not. I don't think Miami's a team they were last year. They're still missing a few pieces on defense. I don't know about Jalen Ramsey. What's his update? But I'm gonna go with Buffalo. I don't know if we're giving scores yet, but if so, I'm gonna go Buffalo 28-24. I mean 28-21. Because for what I seen from Miami last week, and I know it was the first game of the season, Jacksonville should have won that game. Jacksonville should have won that game. And I see Buffalo's a stronger team physically than Jacksonville. Jacksonville's more finesse, but Buffalo's more, you know, power.
Yeah, I personally think that if ATN doesn't put the ball on the rug, Jacksonville's 1-0, Miami's 0-1. And, you know, Jacksonville, you got to give them credit even in defeat, because when you hold the Miami Dolphins to in the low 20s, it's a game that you should win more times than not. As Chan and Mostert go, you know, whether one of them suits up, whether none of them suits up, it's a system-based thing where, you know, head coach Mike McDaniel is still going to have to try to assert the run to give them something to at least think about, you know. I don't view Buffalo's defense as good as I did the previous couple of years either. But when you consider that Waddle's a little dinged up, you know, according to Miami-Dade law enforcement, Tyreek Hill has that bum knee. Yeah, that was a bunch of bullshit. You know, Tyreek Hill, it goes without saying that the offense is going to run through him. You know, so if the way I see it is, if you could shut down essentially anyone else, it should be all right. I have a hunch that Jonnu Smith is going to be active in this one, getting a lot more footballs. But ultimately, I don't really think that the Buffalo Bills are going to be stopped in the metric of Josh Allen being able to make those critical third downs, to keep the chains moving. And also in the running metric of his game. You know, Josh Allen has had the number of these Buffalo Bills, these Miami Dolphins previous few years. I think the Bills improved to 2-0. Under normal circumstances, if Miami was a little more healthy, I think I'd feel a little more comfortable taking them here for the sheer fact that Buffalo doesn't like playing in this kind of weather, like rather hot this early in the year. I'm expecting a decent game out of James Cook. I'm expecting a really good game out of Josh Allen. And I think Khalil Shakir is going to lead the way in targets as well as receiving yards. I hope Curtis Samuel starts finding his way a little more into this offense because of the fact that he was one of my players I drafted in one of my leagues. I also have Shakir in another one, but I expect Shakir, going back to last year, getting that familiarity with Josh Allen as his main slot option. I got James Cook punching in 1. I got Josh Allen punching in 3. One with his legs, 2 with his arm. I'm going to go 34-24 in favor of the Bills. I think Tua Tagovailoa has a very costly interception that could sway this thing too.
I'm going to go 2 with Josh on the ground. And I'm going to give Cook one as well. But yeah, I think Tua is going to feel it this week.
Bills are a better team.
Bills are a better team.
They're a better team last year. They're a better team this year. They're a better team 2 years ago as well, if we're going to take it back that far. And my interesting challenge to the Miami Dolphins is not even about the early part of the year. It's like as the season gets along and moves further along, Are these guys going to be able to be that physical team that could go into other people's houses in the cold weather and push people around?
I don't think so, man. It's just the way they're built, man. They're built on speed and finesse.
She must be talking about you because about 10 minutes ago, I looked like Gary Busey when I woke up. So I'm assuming she's talking about you.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate it.
In unison, man. In unison.
Yeah, I don't. They're gonna have to learn to be physical on defense because offense, they're more speed and finesse. You know, Hill and Waddle, they're not the physical receivers who's gonna push you, bump and run you, They're gonna go straight down the field. You know, and they're not big receivers. You know, so on offense, I don't see them. I could see Achane and most of being the physical part, you know, running. But like I said, Achane's hurt. They're both hurt, but Achane is more his more severe, you know, considering it's an ankle. You know, you need that ankle to turn, you know. So see them getting more physical if they bulk up that offensive line, but they're going to need it because when it gets cold, man, we see what happens when it gets cold.
Oh, she's bringing the feelings today.
I call her bringing the funk. Bringing the funk. the FUNK.
All right, we got the Bills. Even Nunez from Cali, he's got them winning as well. So I'm
gonna go 31-21 instead of 28-24. I'm gonna go 31-21.
Yeah, you and Nunez basically got the same score. San Francisco 49ers. This is an interesting one, right? So last year, their game in Minnesota actually started their longest losing streak of the year. Mm-hmm. They were on a 3-game slide. I think it was like mid-October-ish. Now, granted, that was a Kirk Cousins-led team. You know, going back to last week, you know, we saw what the 49ers did. You know, they had a tremendous play ratio to the Jets. You know, Aaron Rodgers, considering that he hadn't played in a real game in over a calendar year, I felt that it would actually be a calendar year today, to be exact. I thought he played rather well, pocket presence. He wasn't afraid of standing up to the 49er pass rush. But the problem here was that on a lot of those 50-50 plays, guys just weren't able to make the critical catches. And I think it killed a lot of Jet drives.
Mm-hmm. The ball was there.
No, the ball was there. You know, Aaron Rodgers, you know, he's going to get you the ball. He's going to put it on. You might break your thumb, but he's going to put it on.
He's going to put it on you.
But, you know, Rodgers just looked very disenchanted with his receivers. I still feel that despite the fact that we all know that Garrett Wilson is the best receiver on this Jets team, could tell that he still has that rapport with Lazard. Yeah. You know, similar to what he had for so many years with a Randall Cobb. I cannot say any more good things about the 49ers going into this week 2 matchup because, you know, a lot of people felt that they were vulnerable without having the undisputed best running back in the league, Christian McCaffrey. And, you know, Mason just comfortably ran behind that line, hit the holes with aggression.
Waited for his blockers, man. Yeah.
You know, on the losing side, I do like how Breece Hall looked. He was coming off a season-ending injury as well. The Jets are not going to play offenses as great as the 49ers every week. Let's get that out of the way.
Right.
As the Vikings go, they embarrassed the New York Giants last week. And I think what was most troubling, and we're going to hit on the Giants in a little bit, so I don't want to veer too much into them yet. All I'm going to say is the Vikings were able to drop 7 to 8 guys into coverage, making sure that although the Giants did do well with separation, there still weren't any plays to be had.
Right.
You know, you got to give Brian Flores a lot of credit because this was a personal game to him. He's a personal friend of Brian Dable.
Yep.
But Brian Dable got the job over Flores, and we know that he filed a class action lawsuit against the NFL. You know, so it was personal that he outcoached the man who got selected, and he did very much so outcoach.
And Flores, he's a Brooklyn guy too.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So, you know, he took that one personal. The Vikings, what I like what they did last week was that they didn't make things too complicated for Sam Darnold.
Right.
Aaron Jones was hitting the holes hard.
Yeah.
But truthfully, whenever you have Justin Jefferson on the field, he can make a middle quarterback look better. And to be fair, Sam Darnold has never had those receiving options in any previous. Now, if the Vikings go on and have a better year, does that make it a little less painful of the embarrassment, which was week one? I don't know. I guess time will reveal that.
Yeah.
Christian Darrisaw did a phenomenal job on Kayvon Thibodeau. Shouts out Mike Zappi. Zappi called that. I got to give Zappi props. He called that.
He did.
Viking O-line looks good. I believe the spread on this thing is 9.5. I think the Vikings are going to lose, but I think they're going to cover.
We all know the 49ers are probably the most complete team in the league.
No doubt about it.
They skilled at every running back, receiver, tight end, O-line. I mean, they're stacked, man. And it's not stacked in terms of saying, "Oh, they went out and did this like." And I don't want to throw nothing at LeBron, but it's not like a LeBron situation. Most of the plays they brought up, with the exception of his name just slipped my mind. Dang it, CMC.
Most of them are homegrown Niners.
Homegrown Niners. So. You can't say they went and did this and no, they drafted. John Lynch drafted very, very, very well.
People talk about Howie Roseman a lot, but John Lynch does a lot too.
He drafted very, very well. Very well. And this is a guy who played linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, knocking heads off.
Yeah, he went there and he drafted offense. Dude. He was like that hybrid where you could line him up in your second or third layer. He was a hitter.
He was he was all-star, Mike All-Star on defense, man. He knocked the daylight out of him.
John Lynch was nasty.
Yeah, he drafted well on offense. And the job he's doing with Brock Purdy, look, he's the last guy in the draft. We're gonna make sure this guy has what he needs to succeed. And that's what happened. I mean, even though they didn't draft it for him, it was for Garoppolo and for Justin Fields, still they managed to keep the people around him that he needs to succeed, which is that's what the GM is supposed to do.
Absolutely.
I think with the 49ers, though, I think they're going to run Minnesota. I think what Minnesota did to the Giants last night was phenomenal. Brian Flores called a great game. It was personal. But I'm going to use a line my cousin Aaron Moorhead said when I was trash talking the Eagles. He said the Giants were fool's gold. I'm going to say the same thing. Last week was fool's gold. I'm going to go 49ers. I'm going to go 38-17, man. I'm going 38-17 Niners over the Vikings.
Do you guys think Purdy will have a good game this weekend? I'll tell you this much, Nunez. He'll find the end zone this weekend. I think it was a very scripted game plan where they wanted to get the Jets tired, keep them on the field constantly, and when they had that opportunity to do so, the Jets broke. And I think the Jets are a much better team against the run than they showed against this Niners team. But attrition and fatigue is a real thing, and the 49ers had an over 2-to-1 play ratio, which really screwed the Jets. As the game goes, I still think Darrisaw is going to hold his own. But I expect Sam Darnold to get rattled in the second half. I think this game could be close in the first half. As I alluded to, I believe the spread is 9.5. I think it's slightly disrespectful to the Vikings. I got the Vikings covering this by a half point. I'm going 49ers 29, Vikings 20. I think the Vikings are going to get 20 on the board, perhaps a late touchdown, which might be deemed garbage time. Because the thing is, let's not forget, this is Minnesota's home opener, and it's not the easiest place to go in and play. And, like anything else, we know who the superior roster is.
Yeah.
But, there is that possibility that the 49ers could overlook them just a bit. But I still think the Niners are a superior team. They will win. But I will say this, the Vikings are not as bad as people think.
No, they're not. They're not. They're not.
And another team that's not as bad as people think, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, The New England Patriots
Whew.
and the Seattle Seahawks are going at this.
If you put money on the Patriots last week, I ain't got nothing but love for you. I wish I could spend some of that money.
Yeah, that takes a real set to actually do that, you know. But truthfully, I believe the New England Patriots defense is gonna keep them at least in enough games. Offensively, they are still challenged, you know.
Yeah.
I like what Ramondre Stevenson did. I don't necessarily think that Jacoby Brissett is going to be able to bring out the best in Jalen Polk. They need to, what they did essentially against the Bengals is what they're going to need to do against more, you know, talented teams. You know, you got to run the rock, you got to keep them off the field, and you gotta hold good offenses to threes to have a chance because you're not going to score a lot of points.
Yeah.
I personally think this game's going to be close. I really do. But I got these Seahawks squeaking this one out. I'm going 23-20 in favor of the Seahawks. I believe that at some point in this game, you're going to see a big play from DK Metcalf that might be the ultimate backbreaker. I don't see New England being able to do anything aerial, and that's what concerns me about them. You know, Ramondre is going to get his. I don't think the Seahawks are as good as they were a couple of years ago either. You know, Bo Nix, it was a mixed bag in his rookie performance last week against these Seahawks. But I think the Seahawks hold on ever so slightly, 2017 to get the dub. But the New England Patriots, they're taking on the identity of their head coach. And their head coach was, you know, just tough as nails, quite frankly.
Real tough linebacker.
Indeed.
I'm going the other way, man. I'm gonna go, and Coco's gonna love this, and my niece Morena's gonna like this too. I'm gonna go New England 2017. I think they're gonna run the ball. Jacoby Brissett, like I said, he's not gonna light your stats up or anything like that. He's a smart guy though. He's been around. He's the second stint in New England. He's a smart guy, tough guy. He's that type of quarterback where you say, look, we're gonna play defense. Just don't blow the game for us. You know, just don't blow it for us. I think Stevenson's going to get his because he is what he is. He got over 100 last week. In fact, he went way over 100 last week.
I missed this one. Yikes! Nunez is on the Vikings.
I'm gonna go 2017. New England 2-0. You hear that, Coco?
I got no love for the Seahawks, and you know our resident Patriot fan Brett has been subject to a lot of shit from all of us. I forgot about Brett.
Yeah, I forgot about Brett.
I wouldn't be upset for Brett if they win. You know what the hell? Let them be happy.
Yeah. I totally forgot Brett though.
The Los Angeles Chargers go to Carolina. Outside of the New York Giants, the Carolina Panthers probably the worst performance in the league, but at least they scored a touchdown.
Right.
Chargers, and this is going to be something to expect moving forward until they are able to stretch out defenses, which right now they are not able to do. They are still limited. When you lose a Mike Williams and you lose a Keenan Allen, it takes time to find the next guy that could truly stretch out defenses.
Right.
Having said that, their running game is very efficient. Their O-line is looking a lot better. Coach Harbaugh likes to play that clean kind of game where you are leaning on teams, running the football, high efficiency, low risk passing. And Justin Herbert, you're not going to see those kind of games anymore where he's chucking the ball 40 times.
Nope. I agree. Those are Harbaugh brothers, man. They like to run the ball. You know, they're a balanced team, but they like to run the ball and they like to play defense.
Yes,
That's their MO. And Herbert throwing 50 times a game, days are over. Unless it's garbage time and he's trying to bring it back, you know, unless they're down like 20-0 in the third quarter and, you know, they got to scrap the running game. But other than that, it's deep. We're going to run the ball. We're going to play defense. That's it. And they're playing Carolina. God, I don't even know if I want to say if Carolina is worse than the Giants from what I seen last week. Consider we got a 50-year quarterback, 60-year quarterback.
I'm going to be hard on my team and say we're the worst because we have a better roster.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're the worst. You know, I'm going to give Bryce Young the benefit of the doubt. You know, first game of the second year on a team that doesn't really have any weapons.
Indeed.
You know, but they scored 7 points. They scored 7 points. You know what I mean? So but I'm still saying that I think the Chargers going to run them. Based on coaching. Carolina might see another beatdown, man.
They're going to see quite a few this year.
Yeah, they might get another beatdown like they got. I'm going to go unless Harbaugh feels like, okay, let me take it easy on the quarterback, that's not Harbaugh. I'm going to go 38-10.
Hey, I considered starting Justin Herbert in our league this week. My other option is Joe Burrow. But after the embarrassing way that the Bengals lost, T. Higgins, we still don't know if he's going to play, but we know that the Chase-Burrow connection is still rather good. I'm going to stick with Burrow because this is the kind of game where some people might overreact and say, I'm taking Herbert. He can put 300 yards on them, and he can. But that's not what they need to do to beat them.
And that's not what they're going to do.
No, you're going to see J.K. Dobbins. And how about J.K. Dobbins? That was nice to see. After
coming back from injury, man.
After the hell that he went through. After the pure hell that he went through to get back on a football field, and Gus Edwards, his other former teammate from the Baltimore Ravens. This Charger team, slowly but surely, is going to be taking on an identity of a team that's going to grind you out, and they're going to and part of the philosophy is because they want to compete with the Chiefs. They obviously have to continue to improve this roster. Ladd McConkey is going to be a very good player in this league.
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah, Ladd McConkey, good fit for these guys.
You know what about the Chargers? I'm the OG. I remember the Chargers back in the 70s with John Hadle and Lance Allworth, and since they came into the league, when, of course, Los Angeles Chargers, when they started, they had the Powder Blues, they've always been a team to play it by the air. John Hadle.
Air Coryell.
Yeah.
It's always been part of their culture. Dan Fouts.
Dan Fouts. Always.
Even when they had Stan Humphries that one year.
Stan Humphries and the pickle man, Mark Vlasic. All of them.
Phillip Rivers.
I'm OG, dude. I know all of them guys.
Drew Brees was there for a little while before.
Yeah. They've always been that type of team known to throw the ball, like an old AFL team.
Absolutely.
So to see them change the whole culture now, and it's like it's just going to be crazy to look at them run, play defense. It's strange to see him do it, but I think with Harbaugh, he's won everywhere he's went. He's kept his teams competitive going back to Stanford, Michigan, Frisco. He's back in California. Watch out, man. This might not be their year, but look out. But it
wouldn't blow my mind with a softer schedule.
Yeah.
That they can be in the mix last month of the year to steal a wild card.
With Harbaugh, you never know. But for this game, Carolina, rest in peace.
Yeah, I'm going to go 30-13 in favor of the Chargers. I think Herbert gets 2 touchdown scores, both via his arm, but they're still going to be running the ball. I don't expect a huge statistical day out of Herbert. I say a little over 200. He might have a 90%. It's possible. He might have a 90% pass completion percentage, though.
I'm going to go 250 air, 40 on the ground. I think JK is he's gonna get another 100 again. I think he might get 130. He'll probably get 1 or 2 on the ground. Like I said, I got him 38-10. They may score 40.
Oh, it's very possible. And another thing I want to say before moving along, you don't get a lot of recognition when you're a great defensive player, but you play on a bad team. And over the last few years, the Chargers were just that, a bad team.
Right.
Khalil Mack is going to gradually remind people how good he is.
He's got the right coach.
Last year, if you look at the trading card, he had a hell of a year, but he got buried under a lot of tabloid credence to him because of the fact that they weren't winning.
You know what's so funny? And I know we got to move on. Here we go. Jim Harbaugh played quarterback quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But here he is. He puts a good defensive team on the field no matter where he goes. John Harbaugh, special teams coach.
Yeah.
But it's crazy those two brothers, man. And if it weren't for one brother, the other brother would have a Super Bowl. You know?
Yeah, when you look at it from that lens, it is kind of wild. Yeah, you're right about that. But he has his national title, and the game is to be a Super Bowl champ.
Yeah. Look out for the Chargers, though.
They're rising. They're rising.
They're coming.
Our New York Football Giants, 0-1, traveling to the nation's capital to take on the Commanders. They are also 0-1. The Commanders' secondary struggled against the Bucs, but rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels showed some moments of brilliance. He is, in my opinion, going to be the best quarterback out of this class. The Giants did next to nothing on offense, despite having top 10 rankings in time to throw in week 1, as well as wide receiver separation. Friend of the show, Mimi, wanted to make it a point about the separation thing. And you know what? She was correct. So I will give her that. She pointed it out to me. However, over the last few years, separation has been an issue, not necessarily in week 1. The New York Giants quarterback, Daniel Jones, in my opinion, needs to be benched. If he doesn't play better immediately, personally, I would have benched him after week 1. Giants pass rush was also non-existent in week 1. Where do I start? I'll start with the quarterback because he's the guy that has been the source of ridicule and well-deserved. There comes a time with certain athletes where you have to be able as an organization to assess that they might truly be cooked. When you are responsible for 3 of your 5 sacks, that's bad. The Giants' O-line played a lot better. They gave him time to throw. I will be the first to admit that I was not very pleased with the play calling by Brian Daboll because while
too conservative, man.
Too conservative. And Zappy made a point, is the conservative angle because of the fact that he doesn't have confidence in his quarterback. Possibly. But if you don't have confidence in your quarterback, why the frig you keep marching him out there?
You put someone out there who wants to, like DeVito, and I'm not saying DeVito is this great quarterback, but no one can ever question his confidence. Drew Lock, the white Geno Smith. If you feel your quarterback doesn't have confidence, you go to someone who wants to get on the field and play.
Well, this is another caveat that makes me really think and wonder a little bit deeper into this. Steve Azul literally said it. Is it an inside job in the sense that the Giants brass did not draft Daniel Jones? The Giants brass was not able to replace Daniel Jones.
Right.
Do they continue to run him out there to ensure that they get a top 3 to 4 draft pick and get their quarterback of the future? I know that in New York, especially out of all cities, it is natural to overreact. And I don't want to say that Giant fans are overreacting after seeing the same mistakes that they've been seeing for 2, 3, 4 years. And I'll be the first to say that I have defended this young man for a long time. And I am jumping off because I have no choice. I have to jump off at this point. Yeah. I will always support whoever's under center for my team, no matter what, because they're a Giant. But the way I see it is you have to be able to send the right message to your football team.
Right.
This is a team that Daniel Jones historically has owned. Yeah. If Jones has his typical game against them and wins, then I think that he earns a week 3 start, which is a short week in Cleveland. I'll be honest. I think the Giants offensively are going to do better. I do think that they're going to show a lot of pride. I think sometimes playing on the road, getting away, could be beneficial for a team.
Yeah.
But having said all that, I don't think we're going to win this week. I got the Giants hitting the end zone twice this week, mixed with 3 field goals. I got them getting beat. I'm going 2 field goals. You know what? 2 field goals, 2 touchdowns. They're going to break 20. Yeah. I got the Washington Commanders winning 23-20. The only way the Giants are going to be able to win this game is, number one, you have to take advantage of the leaky Washington secondary. But is Daniel Jones capable of exploiting that? I'm not sure.
I didn't want – you know what? After Sunday, and people may call me a fake fan, I've been a fan since 1972 when I turned 8 years old. Well, I was actually 7. I hadn't turned 8 yet. I seen my team win 4 games and I cried when I seen the freaking then St. Louis Cardinals, like I said last week, Jim Hart hit J.D. Kane, rest in peace, and they beat the living daylights out of Giants, and I cried to my uncle. And he said, "Don't worry, just be a Chiefs fan." Because he was a Chiefs fan. That's why I got an Otis Taylor jersey, because he was a Chiefs fan. I got a chance to meet Otis Taylor.
So what you're saying is I should tell Noah after watching. Well, Noah fortunately got spared from watching that beatdown. Should I just go up to Noah and be like, "Don't worry, be a Chiefs fan"? Because now's the time. Now's the time to
make a decision right now. Make a decision right now. But I've put on Facebook, I've taken down all my New York Giants stuff. I said, I love this team. They're still my team, but I'm done with the BS. Me and you have supported Daniel Jones through thick and thin, and this is it for me. But just like that girlfriend that don't want you, but you can't let her go, I'm going with the Giants this week.
Oh, Lord.
I think Jaden Daniels is going to have a good day, though.
He should.
I think he's going to have a real good day. But I think after what happened last week with the Giants,
if they have any testicular fortitude, at minimum, you got to expect they will compete.
I think after last week, offense, defense, we signed someone for special teams. Offense, defense, coaching, and is embarrassed.
Yeah, Gunnar Olszewski didn't suit up, and his presence was missed because he is a very good returner.
Right, and we signed someone for him. I think we'll bounce back this week. It's Washington. No matter how our seasons go, we always beat Washington. Washington is the gift that keeps giving.
One thing that I want to say before we move it along to Indy and the Packers.
Let me get a score first. I'm going to go, y'all don't laugh at me, but I'm going to go 24-18. No, I'm going to go 24-21 Giants. Field goal. Grant Gano ices it.
I mean, from your mouth to God's ears. One thing that I want to say before we move it along. Isaiah Simmons did not play a play last week, which I
didn't understand that one.
He's one of your better athletes. And when you saw the way that they were getting carved up across the middle of the field, I was really disenchanted to see that Simmons, because you could line him up more like hybrid style, in the linebacking corps.
Safety, middle linebacker.
Technically listed as a safety with our current defensive unit. The other thing, I know a lot of Giant fans are bitching and moaning about Jalen Hyatt not getting on the field. I have a simple answer for that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's winning in practice over Darius Slayton. And until he does, he's going to be behind him.
I agree. Because
I don't think that's that complicated. But as far as Simmons goes, I am not happy about that.
Yeah, with Slayton's a veteran. I mean, they're both veterans now, but Slayton is veteran. Slayton knows all the tricks and all that stuff, and it's Slayton's our best receiver. I mean, the last few years. And if you can't beat Slayton, if you can't beat Wan'Dale Robinson out,
you're not beating Wan'Dale in that slot. He is the slot.
Right. You're not going to beat Neighbors. Neighbors is the number 1 pick. He's going to be on the field unless he just totally implodes in practice.
And if you're going to have more 4 wide receiver sets, what people forget is that you're weakening your protection, and Jones is having enough time, a hard enough time not getting sacked even when he gets the protection. That's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
Last thing, from a strategy-based standpoint, I do not understand why the New York Giants are running with so many 2 tight end sets when one of the team's legitimate strengths this year is their speed.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Brian Dable, I get it. He coached Tua. He coached Hurts. He coached Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
If you are that unsure of your quarterback, you have to pull him. You are the head coach. And if you're not able to pull him, that means there's a bigger problem going up top with Mr. Mara. But Daniel Jones has to sit if he doesn't play well this week. And quite frankly, if they don't win this week, he needs to sit.
Yeah. No decent. He has to play well. I don't hear where he played decent. No. He has to play well to where
there's no moral victories at this juncture of the career.
Win or get home. Win or go home.
Yeah.
That's
and
it.
I know the fan base wants Tommy DeVito, but you're not going to get Tommy DeVito ahead of Drew Lock
Nah.
when Drew Lock's making $5 million to sit on the bench.
Yeah, you got to put Lock in there.
Even though we probably all want DeVito, it is what it is.
No, but I want to win.
Damn right.
I want to win.
Indianapolis Colts taking on the Green Bay Packers. Packers looked good and bad at the same time. A lot of mistakes, self-inflicted wounds in that game in Brazil. Jaden Reed, one of my draft picks in one of my fantasy leagues, he looked really good, but I am telling my fantasy heads, if you have better options, think about it, because his production is going to go down with Malik Willis getting thrown into the fire, having to learn this playbook. I'm not saying he doesn't have some familiarity, but he's a very new Packer.
Yeah, very new, yeah.
As the Colts go, good to see Anthony Richardson back on the field and healthy.
You gotta stop running. You gotta learn to slide.
Yeah, he's got to learn how to slide. I know that those who make the decisions up top definitely hold their breath when coming off that injury. He's still, initiating contact. Get down.
Slide.
Jonathan Taylor, I believe that this is going to be one of the seasons where he gradually gets back to being a top 10 running back, maybe even better in this league. I don't like this matchup for Green Bay because of the sheer fact that while I do have a high opinion of Green Bay's defense, I think what's going to ultimately happen here is they're not going to be able to do enough on offense.
Right.
As the game continues to move along, the Colts are going to tire them down. I do think it'll be close, however. I do think it'll be close. I've got the Colts pulling this out 23-17. I think one of the Packers' touchdowns might be set up by a turnover, but I'm not expecting a lot out of Malik Willis in his first start for this organization. However, the week after this, and I spoke out of turn on our previous show because I was looking ahead, that the week after this, he does play his former team that drafted him, the Titans. That might be where he gets
meaningful start, because in Tennessee, this is really his first meaningful start.
Correct.
Yeah, we look at it, yeah.
I mean, Jordan Love, we don't know how long it's going to be yet. I hope for Packer fans it's on the smaller side of the month. I think the Packers have the kind of roster that even if they get off to a crummy start because of this injury, they can get it together in time. But
hey, look how they started last year.
Yeah, but this is one of those 50-50 games. I'm not saying the Packers can't win. They're going to be in front of their home faithful, but I don't like this matchup. I got the Titans by 6. Excuse me, the Colts. I'm still doing it. The Colts by 6. I've been looking ahead all week to that game.
Yeah, I'm going to go 24. I'm going to go 24-17. I got ready to say the Titans too. 24-20 Indy. I think Richardson's going to do his thing. I think JT is going to do his thing. The offense of Green Bay is not going to be the offense we seen last year, the year before with Rodgers, or the years before that with Favre, because you got Malik Willis in there. He still hasn't proven himself as a thrower.
This game's going to look a lot like a Thursday night game that happened a couple of years ago, where the Tennessee Titans, the real Titans, did this to the Packers. I think you're going to see something very comparable to that.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I agree. They just don't have enough experience at quarterback.
The world's not over, though.
No,
be all right.
Richardson don't have the experience either because he got hurt pretty early last year. Mm-hmm. However, he knows that offense. Mm-hmm. And he has people around him who knows that offense. You got a coach that's a damn good coach, It's just about experience at the quarterback position. 24-20. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to give him 20, man. I'm going to go 24-17 Indy.
Yeah, we're 1 point off. We're basically like-minded on how this plays out.
24-17 Indy.
The Vegas Raiders are heading into Baltimore. I don't think this is going to be all that competitive. I think the Ravens definitely got exploited against the Chiefs in the sense that the absence of Patrick Queen was very obvious. Mm-hmm. Now, while Davante Adams is one of the best singular talents at the wide receiver position, I don't believe that Gardner Minshew is the man that can bring out the best qualities of Davante Adams, nor is there other quarterback that they have on that roster, Aiden O'Connell. So the Raiders, I guess what I'm saying is, There's going to be some highs with Minshew. There's going to be more lows. The problem is Davante is not going to have those blow-up games like he used to. He'll have his solid games, not the blow-up games. This is a bad matchup on so many metrics for the Raiders. Yeah. I feel bad for Max Crosby. He's one of the league's best personalities, best players, but I know he loves his organization, but the Raiders are going nowhere fast. I've got the Ravens winning this one handily. They're going to put it on them. I got them winning this thing 37-17, a 20-point victory for the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson is going to be a fantasy hero this week. And I expect Mark Andrews to look a lot better than he did in week 1 and likely will continue to look good too. I think both these Raider tight ends are going to be a little more involved. And I also think that you're going to see Derrick Henry possibly only rush for like 60 yards, but don't be surprised if he has like 2 touchdowns though.
We must be honest. I had the same score, 37-17. I think the Raiders don't have enough on either side of the ball. They don't have enough. They got Davante Adams, but he don't have anyone to throw him the ball.
Nunez is almost on board with us exactly too.
I see. He don't have anyone to throw him the ball, Davante Adams.
I mean, Minshew, I'm not trying to take a total crap on the guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's decent. He's decent, but he's not.
The fact that rookie tight end Brock Bowers led the team in targets last week shows that they do not have the amount of plays cooked up for Adams. And I'm going to call this now. By the trade deadline, Adams is going to be very checked out, very pissed off, and he's going to be looking to reunite with his man, Aaron Rodgers, or potentially
David Carr.
Yes, believe it or not, that could be a thing too. I was going to mention Buffalo, but I think Buffalo's confident in what they got right now.
Yeah, and Buffalo's I think Buffalo wants to get away from that one guy. They want to be able to make this a team thing. We're not focused on one guy.
And as long as I said this many times in reference to Buffalo, I'm not worried about Josh Allen.
No.
If your defense stays healthy and can be a top 10 to top 15 unit in this league, they will win more times than not. And this is one of those years where I actually do agree with Zappy that Buffalo kind of being just under the radar enough could be the year that they finally get to that next step. We shall see.
That's what I was saying, because I don't mean to shift it back to Buffalo, but that's how I feel. Without Diggs being there, they don't have that pressure of you supposed to get to the AFC conference game. Anyway, back to this game. I like Minshew, good quarterback, but he's not that quarterback.
No,
he's a bridge.
He is not. And the Raiders, similar to what we saw the Colts go through for so many years.
Yeah.
The Raiders have to stop taking all these retreads. They need to draft a quarterback.
They need to draft a quarterback, man.
Yeah, they got to stop doing all the retreads. The retreads did not work.
Going back to Al Davis.
God almighty. You're not
going
lying.
Davis.
They did have quite a few.
I think Lamar is going to have a field day. And I don't mean in the air. I mean on the ground. I think Henry, he'll get about 70. But I think his presence will be like pound, 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 pound. I think he's just going to wear that defensive line out. Lamar's going to run it. He's going to throw it. Likely at 37-17.
I'm still worried about the Ravens when they play better offenses because when you
can't play from behind.
Not yet. And Derrick Henry has never promoted that. It's going to be interesting.
They need to, with Henry, he's not the running back he was, but I think he still has it in him. I think with Henry, they got to say, okay, they need to use him like Dallas uses Zeke. Give him the ball, bubble screen, stuff like. Let him get the ball in space.
You gotta involve him on some level and layer a little more into the passing game. I'm not saying that he's more reliable than Justice Hill or whoever else they might have in there that's more sure-handed.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when you make the investment in the player, you gotta try to sell it to him. And I'm still waiting for that one time a year Derrick Henry little pop pass in the end zone.
Because Zeke, like with Zeke, of course, we know Zeke is not the running back he used to be. But Zeke is still a threat if you throw him the ball out in the flat.
A threat enough for me to start him this week in fantasy.
Yeah, he will. Zeke will hurt you if you throw him the ball in the flat. He'll hurt you.
When the Cowboys are done with the Saints this week, they're going to be bitching about a lot more than Lil Wayne not getting the Super Bowl game.
I think with with Henry, you got to give him the ball in space. Hit him with a screen.
Yes.
You know, throw the ball to him in the flat. Bubble, do that. Let him where he's one-on-one. Because if he's one-on-one with somebody, there's a good chance he's going to win that one-on-one. He's either going to run him over or he's going to juke him, because he can juke you. He's gonna what's the guy? He's gonna Josh Norman you. You know, so, priceless.
The man responsible for Odell's first meltdown on national television,
right,
when he became one with the kicking net. This was months before he proposed to the kicking net.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go 37-17. Baltimore. They're looking to bounce back from that Monday night game. That they should have won that game, but they had that Kevin Durant thing going on and they lost.
Indeed. Last game that we're going to be covering on this show: New York Jets 0-1 traveling to Tennessee. The real Titans. The Titans blew a 17-point lead against the Bears.
Embarrassing.
The Jets got it in. Yeah, the Jets. It reminded me of that game on 9/11 a couple years ago when the Giants got him.
Yeah.
Encouraging showing, in my estimation, from Aaron Rodgers, because of the fact that he was able to put power on the ball and get it everywhere he needs it to go.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets are not the 49ers just yet, and the Jets lost to a better team. We kind of discussed that earlier.
Yeah.
As the Titans go, good matchup to look out for will be Garrett Wilson challenging two-time Super Bowl champion L'Jarius Sneed. Sneed recently was quoted as saying that he's kind of pissed that he was traded, kind of sad. I get it. You had a chance to make history, but at the same time, that he wasn't valued, so to speak. Yeah. But at the same time, you can't keep everybody on championship rosters. That's very difficult. Right. And also, in terms of the money variable, you got to get the bag when you can, because NFL stands for not for long.
That's right.
As the Titans go, I don't think you're going to see a rerun performance of running the ball at will against the New York Jets, because the Titans don't have the weapons. On paper, they look like they do. You know, you got your Calvin Ridley, you got your DeAndre Hopkins. I expect Ahmad Sauce Gardner to play a phenomenal game this week. I expect the Jets. Yeah, he's the best at corner. I expect the Jets to force Will Levis into beating them with his arm, and quite frankly, he ain't gonna do it. I got the Jets winning this thing in convincing fashion, 27-13, and 27-20. I think Tennessee gets a late one. 27-20 in favor of the Jets, getting their first victory in the game that Aaron Rodgers finishes.
Me. I think Aaron Rodgers, 25 of 28, 350 yards, 3 TDs. Sauce Gardner picks off Will Levis. Find anyone on our defensive line. I think they'll get to Levis 4 times. Jets win this 32, not 30, not 32. 32 to number 32, 18.
You doing a math equation over here, bro? You got PEMDAS? What's happening here?
Yeah, you know, that's how I do, man.
You messing with me, bro. I barely got past division.
32-18. I mean, 32 to number 30, not 32. 32. Well, that's wrong. 32 to 18.
32 to 18.
Yeah.
So you got the Titans kicking a lot of field goals, I take it, or maybe having to go for 2 a couple of times.
Yeah, I think they'll kick a field goal. Yeah, it's the spread mainly. 14-point spread.
It's going to be interesting. I think the Jets are going to gradually get more comfortable with their offense. Mike Williams still isn't 100%. I still think the Jets need to make a trade to challenge the AFC's elite. That's why I said Davante Adams could potentially be somebody on their radar, or a receiver to be named later that we might see.
If they get Davante Adams, man, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you put Adams on that team, they are very dangerous.
Yeah.
Very, very dangerous.
Aaron Rodgers will be like, just the thought of Davante Adams rejoining him, he'll be like, I know a guy who knows where he needs to be.
Yeah, and the grass isn't always greener. Davante Devontae left Aaron Rodgers, but there's a mixed bag because I also think Devontae knew that Rodgers wasn't far from leaving, and he has that great friendship with Carr. I still think Carr was fool's gold in New Orleans. We'll find out.
Yeah, either spot's a good landing spot for him, though.
No question. Before we get out of here, I did want to talk about something today that I think is important for us to never forget.
What? Nunez has the Giants winning?
Yeah, he's out of his mind. I love him, but he's out of his mind.
Thank
and I'm a Giants fan.
I appreciate you, man. I still don't like the Eagles, but I appreciate you. Yeah. 9/11.
Yeah, man. To put it short, sweet, and bluntly, we've seen a lot of things in this country that divide us as Americans. And what I will say, from being a proud New Yorker and just being someone who, like so many other Americans, reflects on this day in my own way, I'm not going to get into all of the deepness of it because, quite frankly, I really don't want to go there. Right. What I will say is this. Big shouts out to the Port Authority, the FDNY, as well as the NYPD on that particular day, because on that day, at the end of the day, a lot of people did not know if they were coming home, and sadly, a lot of people didn't. We lost a lot of civilians that day. But where I'm going with this to try to end this on a positive note is, as a country, truly, truly, I hope that if we learned anything from over 2 decades ago, is that the will of all of us, regardless of where we are from or what we look like, if we are able to come together like that on a consistent basis again, we are a much stronger nation. And I think it's sad that it takes a tragedy like this to see the best of humankind, when quite frankly, we should see it a little more frequently. Because one thing I will say about that time is that everyone banded together and everyone put a lot of petty differences aside to be better as a people.
You know something, the thing about that day is, and like I said, I watched the smoke from my roof and I was like, dang, and on that day, it didn't matter if we were black, white, liberal, conservative. That didn't matter. We all said we are Americans. The one day I can remember that we all said we are Americans. We need to stick together. I mean, there was some people out there who still had their little thing going on, who wanted to still get things started. But in a whole, we all came together. NYPD, the fire department, and people who just came together, period, to say, let's go down here and let's try to rescue some people.
Yeah.
And, I mean, on a day that was a bad day, there was a great thing happening because people came together. And,
the greatest rescue mission in American world history, actually.
Yeah. So many volunteers came from across the country to go there. And I'm going to help y'all dig out. I'm going to help y'all do whatever we're going to do. And let me add one more thing. The thing about it is, my granddaughter, Danielle Maria, shouts out to today's her birthday. And I took her to the Freedom Tower. I said, and I would say 9/11 happened. We came together and my granddaughter was born on the same day. And to take her to the Freedom Tower, she had never been there. She was old. It was a pandemic year when we wasn't supposed to be going anywhere. We went to New York. We knew the streets gonna be clear. Anyway, we went, and I took her there. And I said, and it's hard to believe it's been 2 decades, man. Dang.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
3 years.
You find out over the course of the years so many stories about those who gave everything, literally everything. Stories about who they were as people. My father spoke to me about Rodney Gillis, one of the officers who died. He crossed paths with him at different junctures earlier in my father's career with the NYPD. When he did some work around the 7-5, a lot of heroes that day. And I'm going to take a page. I'm actually going to requote you from a show we did a couple of years ago, and something that I think we need to kind of retheme it. American Saints Day.
Yeah,
because that day, and in the aftermath of that day, in a world that is very disappointing, quite frequently, we saw the best of humanity. And if there's anything that I would like to take home from that is that
Yeah, American Saints Day. Yeah. Because a lot of people went there and gave. And I think some of the police that went in there, some of the fire department, I believe some of them knew that I may not make it out of here. They knew they were going to their, and if they had that thought, even in spirit, I commend them because they knew I won't be coming out of this, but I'm going in here because this is my job.
Yeah, it's a very real oath that these guys take, and people could bitch, moan, and complain, and sometimes very much justified, but there aren't a lot of jobs that could ever possibly pay enough for that.
Right. Exactly.
And that's all I got. For Idris, I am Richie. Part 2 will be coming to you in just a couple of days. Enjoy tomorrow's football game. And just take a moment, reflect, and hopefully as a people, I think why this is important is because we have to get back to seeing each other as one and the same and as a unified nation, regardless. And, ain't no better time
to reflect
on that than today. We out. Have a great day, everyone.